I'm just going to run up and down the street, though. All right, who wants to talk about babble or speaking in tongues? Who wants to talk about babble or speaking in tongues? You gotta do push-ups while we do it. Let's go. I'm waiting for Liam.
Hey, Martin, how you doing?
Pretty good. Are we going to be able to see who you are?
Yeah, do you want to?
Well, yeah, obviously. People got to know who I'm talking to. We're going to do some push-ups?
Yeah, let's go. How many?
How many you want to do?
Let's do 30.
All right. Ready, go. Uh-oh. You still there?
Yeah, I think I'm frozen though.
All right, I'm still There you go.
Am I still
All right.
frozen?
Yeah, it's all good.
Fuck. All right.
So,
So, how you doing?
pretty good. Do you understand what speaking in tongues means in religion?
In religion, you mean like metaphorically speaking almost?
Well, yeah, just speaking in tongues. When they say, right, God, the language of God or the language of our religion was written in tongues.
Yeah.
And then men today will pretend they're speaking in tongues because they don't understand what it is that was said. So you think about the information in religions comes from a Tower of Babel, right?
Yes.
What does babble mean?
Babble?
Yeah, just rambling
Yes.
in tongues, right? I rambled and I babbled
Yes.
and made a tongue twister,
Okay.
right? So I'm speaking in tongues. When you read the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran, it is literally written in tongues, babbling.
I
And
see.
if you slow down, you get real information. So we tell you, right?
Yeah.
The children of God are Israelites, right?
Okay.
What you're made of light is real light. Get it?
Crossover, yes.
Right? And babble. I babbled on until I turned Israelite into confusion. And if you slow down those words, right?
Okay.
Instead of babbling real fast, if you slow them down, do they make real words that actually connect in real life?
Seems like they do if you break them down. Is real light.
And I mean, they tell you. And this is what's amazing. We told you in the beginning. It came from babble, or somebody rambling so fast, it became incoherent. So you go, I'm reading the Bible that came from the Tower of Babel, or somebody who was rambling so fast, it became incoherent. So if I slow down, is there any words that become coherent, that actually exist in reality?
Does
that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
Right? Is real light.
Down and translate the real way. Yeah.
Right? You came from the kingdom of heaven, that Israel. I came from the light.
In 1977, the seventh son of a seventh son was born on the seventh side of Sunnyside, Washington.
How do you remember that?
I have a good memory. I don't know. Your chance.
That's fabulous.
In my mind, you have a good way of doing that.
Well, I have autism. I'm a weird kid, and literally when I was younger, I would talk about this stuff, and and men would be they're like, Jesus Christ. Because I go, is this real? Does this make sense? Because I think it's real to me. They go research and come back and go, yeah, this is real. It's real. Like, it's real science. It's real religion.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't educate yourself, it comes off as crazy, if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense.
And you think about how did they originally, if you research Christianity, how did you originally see Jesus Christ? Do you know?
In the bow of a cloud.
Yeah, but you had to use a monstros, a golden plate, to catch a reflection. Yeah, well, they don't teach that, which is fascinating. There's monstroses or golden plates that catch a reflection of the sun in the bow of a cloud at the world's richest churches. So they collect your money to make these golden plates to see this body of light, but they don't tell you that. They just take your money to do it, which is quite fascinating. Can I have your money so I can build my own golden plate to see the body of Jesus Christ in its original glory? While I tell you about this other stuff that will make me money to make the golden plate.
Huh.
Pretty interesting.
It's like information suppression. I've heard you talk about that before with people, like people at the top holding things back for money, monetary purposes.
Well, yeah, I mean, you think about how many people go, I'm a Christian or I belong to Christianity, and they don't even know what a monstros or a tabernacle is. I'm a Christian. I worship this person named Jesus Christ, but I don't even know in my religion we used golden plates to originally see Jesus Christ or Yahweh in the middle of the crossover. Right? You could witness the body of Jesus in the crossover before it was born to hang on a tree in the flesh. But we don't teach that anymore. It's not important. What's important is whatever version we can tell you today will make us the most amount of money, which is quite phenomenal.
You don't think they would make more money telling everyone the truth?
No, I don't think so, because they've deemed it so. I mean, obviously they must have tried it, if that makes sense. So you tell everybody the truth. I want you to think about this. We tell everybody the truth. We originally saw the body of Jesus Christ the exact same way the Sumerian, Babylonian, Egyptian, Hinduism, every civilization in the world saw their same Son of God or Messenger of God. It's all the same one. If we tell the truth, it makes our version just another, there's some truth in it, but it just makes our version another, path from the truth to make money.
Okay, I see. I understand.
Right? If you think about Hinduism, if we tell you in Hinduism, we used to use a tabernacle or a monstros to see Rama. Yeah, if we use a tabernacle in Hinduism to see Rama and Krishna, and the Greek religions used to use a tabernacle or a monstros to see the Greek gods, and the Vikings did the same thing, and the Egyptians and Babylonian, the Native American, you see what I'm saying, Aztec and Incan minds. Yes. Every ancient civilization used the exact same man-made earthly device to see the body or the Son of God.
And do you think these man-made devices are still used today by certain people?
Yeah. You absolutely. They actually hold them up in all their glory over their flock. It is a ritual in Christianity to hold.
It's like having the conch, Lord of the Flies.
Kind of, yeah. It is a ritual in Christianity to parade your golden plate above your flock that gave you the money to create it. If you look on
so
today,
it's like a symbol of what they've done. I see.
Yeah, we've achieved enough money at the top of religions. We made it to the top of religions. We have the money to make our own golden plate, which allows us to see the body of Jesus Christ, which is also the body of Rama, the seven-colored rainbow body in Buddhism. It's all of them. You know what I mean?
Now, the materials in the gold plate, do you think that they're naturally, elements 1 through 114, or is there things involved in this gold plate that are metaphysical, say?
No, it's basically, so when we think about the human eyes, everybody's eyes are different distance apart, different depth in their head, have different moistures, different size corneas. So a tabernacle or a monstros is just a golden plate that allows you to see what was the original body of light that actually, I mean, literally, would you exist today without it?
No, you wouldn't.
Now, see what I'm saying? It allows only men who deem themselves worthy to see this creator, this body that exists in the light, that gives us everything we need to survive and does the miracle of every religion's messenger and son of God. It's fascinating, right? I mean, that's indisputable. You can make a monstros today or a tabernacle, these golden plates, and you can see this body of light literally it's in the middle of the crossover. It's in the middle of sacrificing itself from light into matter to be born in the flesh. Virgin birth. You can see it in the middle of its virgin birth. After it's born, after it's born, in the flesh that is our wheat or fruit on a tree, you can slay it and take its dead body, seeds, wrap it in a shroud, put it in a tomb for 3 days, and it will rise again, germinate in 3 days, and give you salvation from starvation. Literally, that's what the original information in Christianity states. You can see this body of light sacrifice itself for us, and then we can make it rise again. It's fascinating.
Energy is neither created nor destroyed.
Exactly. Energy is never created nor destroyed. This body of light isn't created nor destroyed. It's just a circle, the circle of life.
So when you say that everybody has these different spatial differences between their eyes, depth perception, moisture of the eyes, you're talking about, so does this mean that the body of light transcends across all these different visual perceptions and can be seen by everybody, or is it only people with certain biological parameters?
No, so if you study science today, created by Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, there's this genetically inherited condition called synesthesia that lets some people.
Don't you have that?
Yes, it lets some people
full blown
see it. Right? Yeah, you can see it anyways. You can see it regardless. Now, you can take somebody with synesthesia who can see the body of light and have them reverse engineer things to make you your own tabernacle or your own monstros so that you can see it as well. But in order to do that, somebody has to see it originally. Does that make sense?
Yes.
How do you make a device? Yeah. How do you make a device to see something if you don't know where to point the device? Does that make sense?
True. Pyramid?
Well, kind of, but can you see the body of light above a pyramid? It was originally done for that. The white stuff that was on the top of it that used to make it do things is gone. But yeah, a pyramid was made for certain people. But you can make your own. Here's the thing: today, you can make your own monstros, your own tabernacle. Right? You can make your own.
And you think that everybody should?
I absolutely. Why wouldn't you? I mean, if you think about this, if in science we've proven there's a body of light that is our creator and our destroyer that exists in the physical realm where we are today and goes all the way down to the quantum universe in the strong nuclear force that is literally the creator and destroyer of life, why wouldn't you want to see it?
That's very true. You would want to see it.
Right? I mean, yeah. If there's
an issue at that point.
I mean, you think about it. So we're telling you in religions the 7 seals of Revelation hold an apocalypse, right?
Yes.
So the 7 seals of Revelation hold an apocalypse. What is that apocalypse? A
lifting of the
Jesus
veil.
before the right. Jesus, Rama, Krishna, all of religion's messengers are sons of God.
True. Very true.
It's all the same one. The apocalypse. It's all the same one. We've just perverted it for money. Now, why? Think about this. You can see Rama and Krishna riding in a cloud. Hinduism. You can see Allah's messengers, or Islam's messengers, in a cave, looking outside of the cave into the bow of a cloud. You can see the Greek gods if you climb Mount Olympus to the bow of a cloud. You can see the Egyptian gods in the bow of a cloud, the Anunnaki from Sumerian and Babylonian in the bow of the cloud. You can see every religion's son of God, messenger of God, or spiritual interpretation of God, 7-colored rainbow body in Buddhism, in the bow of a cloud. Does the
7-colored body of rainbow Buddhism tie into the, like the 7 bowls of wrath, or is that separate because is that different religion or?
It does kind of. So you think about the 7 balls of wrath or whatever you're talking about, wrath, right? How do you get wrath? By not telling the truth?
Yeah.
So you think about in Buddhism, if you were a Buddhist today and you were getting sick, I would tell you there's a 7-colored rainbow body that exists in the bow of a cloud. Christianity used it to create Christianity, Hinduism for Hindu. Every religion that's ever been created is modeled after this. Now, when you die, you can tell everybody you're becoming it, and maybe somebody will see it after you die, and you will get a lot of fame and notoriety after you're dead. People will cheer your name and basically will build temples to you because you became the 7-colored rainbow body. Or you can tell the truth and tell everybody it already exists. Nobody in Buddhism actually becomes it. It exists already.
Wants to. It's personal gain.
And you think about that. Nobody in Buddhism is willing to right? Truism in Buddhism. We want to remove you of all earthly materials, but nobody in Buddhism has ever been willing to tell the truth. So does Buddhism actually, is it a successful religion? When you die upon death. Exactly. So you think, that's highly fascinating. In Buddhism, we're going to teach you to detach yourself from spiritualism. So when you die, right, no earthly materials will be willing to convince you to lie. And then upon your death, we're going to tell you there's a 7-colored rainbow body in the clouds. You can tell everybody you become it. For the earthly possessions and material you will gain after you're dead and never actually touch for yourself, or tell the truth and say it already existed. What do you choose? I choose the earthly materials. I choose ego. You think about that. In Buddhism, we try to teach you the death of your ego, and when you die, you pick your ego. No man in Buddhism has ever chose the truth. No man in Christianity has ever chose the truth. No man in Islam. No man in Judaism. No man in Hinduism. No man.
Tongues? Is that the thing? And there's some truth to it deep within? Throughout all of them?
Tongues. Yeah. Now that's what I'm saying. There is some truth deep within all of them. It already exists. It's real. You see what I'm saying? That body of light, it's real. There is some truth. That body of light that's the 7-colored rainbow body in Buddhism is real. There is some truths at the bottom of that glass. Right? They tell you the first sips of natural sciences will make you an atheist, but at the bottom of the glass you'll find God. How? Well, reading about this, I'm a Buddhist, and I study natural sciences, and I go, are you kidding me? That 7-colored rainbow body that you guys have been telling me my whole life, different Buddhist monks at the peak of Buddhism already existed. None of them became it. I'm Hindu. Are you kidding me? I started studying natural sciences, and I realized Rama and Krishna are that 7-colored rainbow body in the bow of a cloud. It already existed. I'm Judas. I'm Judaism. Are you kidding me? Yahweh is that 7-colored rainbow body in the bow of a cloud. Christianity. Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ is that 7-colored rainbow body in the bow of a cloud. Islam. Allah is that 7. You see what I'm saying? Every single one of them.
It seems to even transcend past religions too, in some senses, like the cryptography in Star Wars. When Peter sees a celestial being walking through the sky, like that sort of thing. It's like cultural too. It's not just tied to religion anymore. It seems like it's really trying to get this information out.
Yeah, we're trying. They're trying. You think of you think about how crazy everything. Teddy Ruxpin. You think about Teddy Ruxpin. The cartoon Teddy Ruxpin. In the beginning of the commercial, he went in an airship to the bow of a cloud and spun around, boom, in a cross. You could see a cross mounted in the 7 seals of a rainbow.
Huh. That's bizarre.
There's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of cartoons and things trying to Rainbow Bright. How did she get up there? She rode a horse to the bow of a cloud. Ain't that what religions tell you? When in different religions, the Greek gods, they got to the vault of a cloud. Before Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, the Greek gods got to the vault, were carried to the vault of a cloud on a horse, riding up a rainbow. Now we tell you it was Muhammad. We tell you it was Thor. All these different the Viking. You ride the Bifrost. You ride a horse to the vault of heaven. Nephilim. What is a Nephilim? That body of light. Now we tell you in religions and in ancient things, it tells you these Nephilim, these ancient creatures
Watcher.
taught men. They taught men magic that led to science. And I want you to think about this. Nephilim, if you're reading it, it taught men magic, and then that magic led to science. Now, if you're actually studying the body of light in the seven seals of Revelation, a Nephilim, at first, magic. It's turning one seed into 100 bushels. I don't get it. It's curing lepers. That body of light in a rainbow, it's curing lepers. That's magic. But then you learn, oh, in a rainbow, that body of a specific sliver of light actually kills the bacteria that creates leprosy. That magic led to science. Does that make sense? Now,
yes, definitely.
these Nephilim, these watchers, they make my alcohol for me. It's magic. If I put my grapes outside right now, if you took apples outside right now, these watchers, these Nephilim, would take your fruit and ferment it and turn it into alcohol. It's magic. But then you study and go, what is the light doing? The light, a specific sliver of the rainbow, is birthing yeast on the rind, on the shell of the fruit, that actually ferments the sugar water inside of it. It becomes science, right? The more you educate yourself, this magic turns into science. You go, I understand now, with an education, how they said in the beginning, these watchers and these Nephilim taught men magic. And that magic led to the science that we teach today in the world. And in real life, it does, if that makes sense. If you actually follow in real life, the magic that we used to say the Nephilim and the watchers taught humanity actually led to the science we teach today on how you make alcohol, how light actually kills the bacteria that creates leprosy, curing lepers, how light turns one seed into 100 bushels. Magic. Somehow, if I take 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish and I grind it up and I stick it under the sun, magic happens, and then I can take that, after that spell or that concoction, whatever, those watchers and those Nephilim have blessed it with magic. I can take that concoction, I can throw it in the ocean, and I can catch enough fish to feed 5,000 people.
Now, would you consider Einstein to be a Nephilim or a watcher, considering that
No,
at the time that
not
he
at all.
discovered, well, when he discovered spooky action at a distance, it was considered magic.
He didn't discover spooky action at a distance.
You don't think so?
No, we know for a fact he didn't. It was
Are you talking
so.
about Nikola then?
Well, hold on. Let's get somewhere. So,
Okay.
we had Newtonian physics, right? Nature is just fine with the transmutation of light into bodies and bodies back into light. And religions around the world, when we do not want humanity going down that trail. They'll discover the singularity that birthed all of our religions. It will cost us a lot of money.
Okay.
Albert Einstein came up with his other theories. Light has a maximum and constant speed in a vacuum. Light is limited. If we teach you guys light has limitations, you'll never understand how light created you and how light has a body.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I
Right?
think a big
In
problem
real life, Albert Einstein's information only accounts for 0.3% of reality. 0.3%. But we leave that part out. We don't tell you, hey, I'm going to teach you about general relativity, the maximum constant speed in a vacuum. I'm going to teach you about special relativity, but it only counts for 0.3% of reality. 99% of the universe and reality that exists outside of Albert Einstein's equations and information. Why do we do that? So that you don't find the true power of light. We're putting roadblocks in your life on purpose. If I prevent you from understanding what's going on in reality, you don't find the truth in reality, and you give me money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So when you say that this light, the body of light, you don't think it has limits? Because doesn't that make it, above what a human is, giving it limitless ability?
So let's think about this. Let's
Okay.
go back to Newtonian physics. Light is just fine with the transmutation of light, or nature is just fine with the transmutation of light into bodies and bodies back into light. In that superposition, what body can light make? When it's not quite light and not quite matter yet, what can it create?
Black hole.
But it's what can't it create? Let me rephrase that differently. What can't it create? It created you. It created me. It created my house. It created the tree outside. It created all of the life that exists on the planet. It created the ocean. It created the earth. It created the moon. Do you get it?
At that quantum moment.
What can't it create? Tell me that. What can't it create?
I'm not sure. Is there anything it can't?
That's it.
List to me.
That's where we're at in the scientific world today. We haven't found anything this body of light that looks just like us can't create. There's nothing in the universe we have found that it doesn't make. Everything that we found today, that we researched scientifically, and anything, or just have in our life, literally came and was created when that body of light crossed over into matter. What can't it create? It's infinite potential, infinite power. Now, if I don't want you to know that, because I've given you Greek religion to believe in, right? I give you, well, let's study, light has a maximum and constant speed in a vacuum. Light, right, can only do certain things. When you think about, really? Because we wouldn't have anything to study without light. 99% of the universe exists outside of Albert Einstein's information.
So why is he so...
How fast are you created? Unmeasurable. Right? We can't measure you. The light that creates you enters your body so damn fast, we cannot measure it, blowing Albert Einstein's special relativity out of the water. That's weird. A thermoelectric quantum, we call it a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon.
And it's thermoelectric?
Well, thermoelectric quantum phenomenon, that's what they call it. It travels so fast,
the moment
we cannot measure it. Well, that right there, human creation disproves Albert Einstein. Now, not only that, now, how fast is a fish created? We can't measure it. Damn, that blew Albert Einstein's shit out of the water. When a dead seed, boom, springs to life and turns into and sprouts, we cannot measure that. It traveled faster than Albert Einstein's information. Every living organism and everything that's created in our world today was created out of light, traveling faster than Albert Einstein's theory needed to support his general relativity. That's phenomenal that we don't want you to know that. But why? Because if we limit your understanding of reality, we can dictate who the creator is instead of you actually finding the real one. I can give you a fake one to believe in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I can give you a fake creator because I don't. Why? Now, why would I want to give you a fake creator? So I can make money.
You can study the true panacea of light under your own circumstances and in your own private. You can get ahead of the curve on it.
Right. But now we're going to get somewhere. Now, where's this science coming from that disproves Jesus Christ? Christianity. The leaders, the people who have the original information in Christianity.
The Pope.
Studying in private. That's phenomenal. Where's this information that disproves Judaism's version, Hindu, Greek God, every different human's version? The leaders of religion who have the original information, taking your money, studying the original version in private so they can get further. But in order to study it, we got to give you some, right? If we need to give you a fake version to create golden plates just to see the body of light that exists in the 7 seals of Revelation, how many people will I have to give a fake version to create scientific laboratories where I can study the nuclear force that also has a body of light or an image that happens to look like us before it creates everything? Everything in our world came from light. That's science, right? I'm not making that up. That's science.
No, that's proven at this point.
Right? That's science. Everything in my universe came from the light. And in the subatomic universe, the quantum universe, before that light is turned into matter, there's a humanoid figure that can turn into anything. A fish, my dumbbells, my doorbell, curtain, a window, you, me, my neighbor's dog. What does that make it?
I'm not sure.
If it can create anything, what does that make it?
The panacea, the body of light.
Exactly. Now, not only that, it can create everything and anything that we have, and nothing that we have would exist without it. Nothing. You wouldn't. No religious followers would exist without it. What is that? They're God. They're creator. The creator of Judaism, the creator of Christianity, the creator of Islam, the creator of science, the creator of everything. Right?
What about the Iron Maiden?
What about it?
Do you like them?
What does that have to do with science?
I'm sorry, someone told me to ask that, but no, getting back to what we were talking about how it's, transcendent across all societal religions. Why is it still being withheld then? Why, if everybody, what do we do now that we know this? Is there anywhere to go from there?
Here's the thing. No, this is where I'm at. You guys, the children of the world, does light create everything in your life?
Yes.
Does light create your food to sustain you?
Yes.
Does light have a body that looks just like you in the physical realm and in the quantum realm? And does that shape that looks just like you have the ability to create and destroy everything in your life? If so, go study it. Right? Maybe the world doesn't have it because everybody else, and I'm going to give you this in real life. I was offered penthouses, mansions, women, money to not teach you guys this. How much money do you? I had men show up to my house with a checkbook. How much do you want? Christians, how much money do you want? And I'm thinking, well, if I'm lying, why would you need to pay me? Islam, Judaism, science, how much money do you want? How many houses do you want? How much earthly materials will it take to buy your silence? And I think about that. How many men were offered that same thing? Probably all of them.
And once you accept it, then you don't get the next clue.
Well, also that once you accept it, once you accept money for telling a lie, to start lying, can you ever go back?
That's true. You're caught up in them.
Right? Just what if I said $1? I want $1, and I won't repeat it. I take $1. Can I ever move forward in my endeavors? Or am I stuck telling the lie forever? Because I've gathered a bunch of people under me for Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Greek gods, Viking gods, whatever religion I'm practicing, I've got people under me. And I got them there by lying. And somebody can say, here's the check that bought him the penthouse to lie to you. If I have 100 people in my church, there's a good chance some of them are going to be angry enough to hurt me physically for a very long time or do something. Am I ever going to be able to come clean?
No, definitely not. But it seems like, a book like The Quantum Mechanics of Human Creation kind of puts you and Courtney at a risk of, publicly publishing that sort of knowledge.
Well, here's the thing. If you follow my life in real life, because of the information that I contain, in real life, a lot of people died. Literally. When I refused the money, I don't want anything. I just want to keep working on this. I don't want any money. People start dying. I've had family members drown themselves, shoot themselves in the back of the head. I've had friends run themselves over with their own car. I had a huge freak out. I don't know how long you've been following me, but it came to some point where I just said, fuck it.
Do you think
I'm right here?
The tragedies that you've endured on your search to this knowledge has been worth it so far?
I don't know. That's for people to decide.
That's a good point.
All I know is that there really is a body in the 7 seals of Revelation, or the center of the electromagnetic spectrum, that sacrifices itself on a cross to turn in the matter that is your daily bread, your last supper, to be born a virgin birth, to be born in the flesh. But not only just Christianities, it does Buddhisms, Hinduisms, Islams, Judaisms, Greek gods, Viking, every single one. Right? And not only does it do every single one of those miracles, if you educate yourself, all of their messengers and sons of God, or whatever you want to call them, you're told today can be seen in the exact same place. Where do you see the Greek gods?
In the Bova cloud.
Yeah, Mount Olympus in the Bova. Where do you see the Viking gods? Across a bifrost, a rainbow in the Bova cloud. Wow, that's interesting. I can get to the kingdom of heaven on a bifrost or a rainbow in the Bova cloud. Where do you see Rama and Krishna? Sitting in a Bova cloud. They're literally riding in a cloud. That's how they depict them. Seven-colored rainbow body in Buddhism. In the bow of a cloud. But not only that, where do you see the Egyptian gods? In the bow of a cloud. This is interesting. Sumerian and Babylonian. In the bow of a cloud. And they all do, right now, that singular entity that exists across all religions does the miracles of every religion's son of God or messenger of God. If you restore the truth in real life, that body sacrifices itself on a cross to cure lepers, to turn one seed into 100 bushels. This is interesting.
So, according to what we
turn
know,
water into wine.
There seems to be like a yin to every yang. Does this mean that if you believe in the body of light, that the darkness is somehow evil and performs tragedies rather than miracles?
Well, I mean, what would be the darkness? Hiding that from you? Your ego. The death. Now let's talk about the death of ego. What is the darkness? What is the devil? Me in Christianity, me in Judaism, me in Islam, me in whatever religion I follow, getting the education, researching this information and going, hey, wait a minute, here's the truth. But my ego and my wallet are more important than the truth. My ego and my wallet. My need, and you think about whatever your religion, in my religion says I can have 5 wives. So my need for 5 wives is more important than the truth. Well, my religion says I don't have to pay taxes. So my need to not pay taxes is more important than the truth. Well, my religion says I can be forgiven for my sins. And everybody around me that knows what I've done has to forgive me. But if I tell them the truth, might not be so well, right? We grab your ego, your psychology, and right? What did we do? We took the singularity that creates all of humanity and everything that we have and broke it up into different slivers of information to latch onto the different psychologies that exist in different social structures. Does that make sense?
Is this the work of the devil, though?
Now we're going to get somewhere. Now, okay. What is the devil in real life? What do we tell you the devil is? 666. A man. A man with a penis. The devil is men. Mm-hmm. In real life, who is the devil? I mean, really, in real life, if you research Christianity, and they put it out there, the devil is men. It originally
Cain and Abel. It's like he kills the very first story about humans. Shows the true colors, the evil, the devil of men.
Well, I mean, think about Cain and Abel. Every story is a metaphor for doing something right, but contains an apocalypse. People literally have spent hundreds of years trying to find the apocalypse or the revelation of information in Cain and Abel. I was a little boy. I'm like, inside me, there's one body of light split up into 2 brothers. One is able to get a cloak from the Father and shield me from diseases and illnesses. The other can take Cain and kill me, sugar. And in Christianity, in order to prevent diseases and illnesses in your offspring, you had to stop eating fruits and vegetables. You had to fast in order to cure yourself. It's real biology.
It's crazy how the implementations of that story go right down to the biology of humans and all the way up to the morality and the social structures. That's insane.
But more importantly, I mean, you think about this also. We know if you have a neurological condition that causes bipolar, depression, and things like that, Cain cane will have you suffer a neurological condition and not allow you to cure yourself that might lead you to kill your brother in real life. That's what's fascinating. And not only it transcends. There's so much information that transcends in it. If you study neuroscience, if you were to fall down and hit your head, right, and you developed epilepsy, a seizure, and those seizures actually have a side effect of bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, depression, things that lead to homicidal tendencies. How do we cure that in you? We prevent you from consuming cane from a field. What? You can remove the homicidal tendencies in somebody when their brain is operating improperly because of damage or trauma by removing cane from their diet? And Cain killed his brother. That's interesting.
That is really interesting.
I mean, think about it, we don't teach that in all fields of science and medicine because there's not a lot of money in epilepsy. Right? If you have schizophrenia because of epilepsy is the underlying condition. We won't pay for you to go sit in an institution, $2,000 a night, $500 a night for years on end till we get it under control. You're forced to be put on a ketogenic state and cure your schizophrenia, your delusions. Now, if you're just diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar on their own, now your insurance is required by law to pay whatever amount of money it takes to put you in an institution, and the medication is required to regulate your thoughts. Isn't that weird? Yes, babe? Okay. Isn't that weird?
That's really weird. It's like the
Right.
more people's thoughts that they can have manipulation over, the more powerful.
Exactly. So you think about this. So if you fall and hit your left temple, your right temple, the back of your head, the front of your head, the top of your head, no matter where you fall and hit your head, that damages your brain, that leads to your schizophrenia, we can put you in a ketogenic diet and it will cure that epilepsy, removing your schizophrenia, your bipolar disorder, your neurological disorder. And we'll do that because there's no money in epilepsy being the underlying condition. But if we don't diagnose you as epilepsy, now this is what's fascinating. If you had epilepsy and you didn't tell your doctor and they just diagnosed you with schizophrenia, now your insurance can stick you in it. Will have to pay to stick you in an institution. Once they find out, oh crap, your schizophrenia is from epilepsy, we can cure it.
What? What do you mean?
Yeah.
They can cure it if it's from epilepsy?
Huh?
Through the
No. I'm saying we know all neurological problems, bipolar disorder, things that are created from epileptic seizures, minor storms in your brain.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Damaging them lead to those neurological conditions. If we know that you have epilepsy ahead of time, creating those neurological problems, no matter where your brain is damaged, we will put you in a ketogenic state and repair that part of your brain that's damaged, creating that neurological condition. I mean, think about it. Listen to what I'm saying. No matter where your brain is damaged, where the inflammation is, we will put you in a ketogenic diet and repair that damage, alleviating your neurological condition. But if we don't have you listed as seizures being the underlying condition that damaged your brain, causing your neurological problem, it's incurable. Well, how does a ketogenic state repair any part of the brain that leads to neurological problems in epilepsy, but no other field of medicine? Because those other fields of medicine are worth a lot of money.
Ah, I see. Huh. The healthcare industry is just a problem.
Huge. Now, and that's where I talk to you guys about lobbyists. Do you know what a lobbyist is?
Yes.
We studied now, epilepsy has been studied for hundreds of years. A ketogenic diet, if you research yourself, it's public information. A ketogenic state was used to cure schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, all kinds of neurological disorders because of epilepsy. For hundreds of years, we could cure a schizophrenic by limiting the amount of fruits and vegetables, bread and sugar they consumed. And it takes a while. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but it does cure it. A guaranteed over 90, it's like 99%, but I'm going to say 90% success rate. And then we lobbied the federal government to no longer teach that. Now, who did that? A pharmaceutical company. Modern agriculture. I don't want you to know eating fruits and vegetables exacerbates and continues somebody's schizophrenia. I don't want you to know eating fruits and vegetables exacerbates and continues somebody's depression. I don't want you to know eating fruits of sugar allows somebody to have bipolar disorder. It prevents their body from healing it. I mean, it worked for thousands of years. I mean, think about it, not just in the United States.
Like, at what point?
It's still there. No, we just don't teach it. It didn't go anywhere. We just don't teach it. It never went anywhere.
Well, we just like, the Board of Education decided at some point that it wasn't important anymore to teach to people. That's kind of, I don't know, seems wrong on their part.
Well, here's the thing, though. The Board of Education just listens to what lobbyists tell the government to make them do, right?
Yes.
So, if you don't have your own lobbyists and Big Pharma and Western medicine need you to buy prescriptions for things that you can cure yourself, and they have lobbyists to make sure you do that, how do you defend yourself from making sure you have access to this information? You got to get your own lobbyists or educate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you think about how fascinating that is today. I mean, if you talk to an old timer, like somebody in their 70s and 80s, the information still exists. You ask them, how did you guys cure epilepsy, schizophrenia, and depression, and things like that in the old days? Absent of what we try and teach you, they taught on TV. What did you guys actually do? Oh, they were forced in a ketogenic diet. The medicine didn't exist then. There wasn't the opportunity to make money off of you.
Huh.
You ask them, really, find somebody who's 80 years old, 90 years old, and ask them, how did you treat your child's epilepsy without the medication that was invented in the 70s and 80s? Oh, we put them in a ketogenic diet, and they wouldn't have epilepsy for 5 to 10 years or 3 years or whatever. And when it came back again, we put them in a ketogenic state. When their schizophrenia came back because of their seizure, we put them back in a ketogenic state, and it worked for another 10 years, or it worked forever.
How long would you have to be in a ketogenic state for it to work like that amount of time?
Everybody's different. Everybody's different. So okay. I have epilepsy, incurable hereditary epilepsy. I haven't had an epileptic seizure in years because of a ketogenic diet. But here's the thing. The doctors, I can now here's where the law proves you can cure those things, but lobbyists have interfered with what you're allowed to know. Because of Western medicine and Big Pharma lobbying the government saying hereditary epilepsy is incurable, I can't ever be listed as cured. But they can list me as cured. I can drive my car, right? I can operate a motor vehicle. I can do all the things that you're not supposed to do when you have epilepsy because I'm cured. But they're not legally, disability is not legally allowed to diagnose me as cured. It's against the law.
I have a random question for you.
Go ahead.
What's your biggest fear?
What do you mean my biggest feat?
Fear.
Oh, fear? I don't fear anything.
That's awesome. That's good.
I mean, I piss and moan about
you up at night?
I have insomnia.
You said that. Sorry.
So yeah, I have insomnia. My mind's always racing. I have so many different things I think about, and it's so hard to find people to understand what it is you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the smarter you are, the crazier you sound to uneducated people. When you have autism, believe it or not, it's a fascinating thing. You might not be able to communicate where people can truly understand you, but you have to sit down with psychologists who teach you. You're so smart. There's a lot of people who are going to think you're crazy because they're so stupid. You ever have to sit down with somebody that teach that? Like in autism, you sit down with a group of other people, and they're like, everybody in this room is so smart. The rest of the world around you will think you're crazy because they're so dumb. That's I used to get these pamphlets for classes my family could go to, and it literally autism and savant syndrome. Martin is so smart, you might not understand what he's saying. Come here so we can articulate it. And literally, my family, I'm not going there so a professional can tell me I'm stupid. That's what everybody says. Like, I'm not going. Nobody wants to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so these people are really good at articulating exactly what is going on in these gifted types of people who with savant and whatnot.
Yeah. Because we don't necessarily, we don't articulate the same way you do.
That'd be really good.
I'm sorry, what?
We should get these people published or something.
Here's the thing, though. They are published.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Here's the thing. This is where does all the information come from that you need to survive and exist today? Autism spectrum disorder, Da Vinci, Einstein, Tesla, Nietzsche, right? A lot of things that humanity takes for granted comes from people on the autism spectrum disorder. But you guys can't, right? You guys can't, the general population can't understand them, but a doctor can. Or, somebody who understands, who's had schooling understands. You think about me sitting at a church or sitting at a school or sitting somewhere talking about the strong nuclear force and the subatomic particles that make up all matter on Earth. That just sounds crazy to people. Literally, people like, that's not real shit, man. Literally, people like, there's no such thing as a strong nuclear force. You're making shit up. 80% of the people in my life go, there's no such thing.
That's just
I talk about electromagnetism and how energy and information can't be created nor destroyed, and how light doesn't perceive time. And literally 80% of the people in my life go, that's made up shit. And then if you go and study physics, light exists outside of time. 99% of the reality around us exists outside of this construct man calls time. That's phenomenal.
So do you think that your abilities in that sense have, helped you solve the cryptography of reality, such as, the ones found in Star Wars or outside the CIA or?
No. They're put now, and we're going to get somewhere. Now, what you guys call speaking in tongues or babble is actually put out there. How do you teach some autistic people who have an island of intelligence in particle physics? You give them Star Wars.
Really?
You give them, how do you teach somebody, an autistic person who can move humanity forward in human biology when they don't learn the same way as you?
Through crypto.
Ball of chi. That's interesting to an autistic. Understand that? I can unlock my ball of chi. Well, what would that do for me? Heal me, make me stronger, but it doesn't mean biology. Well, what the fuck does it mean? They don't understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can unlock my ball of chi. Now, what will that do for me if you research it? Heal me, make me stronger, make me healthier, run faster, jump higher, see better.
Takashi Lev Kovacs.
Right? They're just cryptography.
I like the cryptography, though. I'm very impressed at your ability to solve the CIA one. That's just unbelievable to me.
Well, they
How long did you work on it for?
Not very long. They give them to me when I was a kid. All my whole life.
Like, how did you get access to these people as a kid?
So yeah, you get a hearing and a vision test. They used to do this for everybody. You get these tests, and you get a test, and you go, "Hey, man, I'm hearing beeps that aren't there, and I'm seeing things that aren't there." And well, what is it? Well, it's a damn phone number. And somebody's sitting there. Well, what numbers? And they, well, where are you? Cedar Woolley, Washington? We'll be right there. Boop! And they go, well, shit, we've done this test for 10 years and ain't nobody ever said there was a phone number in there.
Wow. That's amazing.
And then they just, But
I mean, that's your biological ability. That's not something that could be learned. Like, you're just inherently.
Well, they tell you. Now we're going to get. If you talk about your third eye, if you research, research Babylonian, Sumerian, Egyptian information, specifically in Hindu, you can't awaken your third eye. They did autopsies way back then. They cut people open. They studied the pineal gland. They went, okay, now everybody has a pineal gland, but not everybody has the ability to see and hear things outside of normal perception. We cannot awaken somebody's third eye. And then, religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam moved that field a little further and discovered it was a genetically inherited condition called synesthesia. But what they did discover is you can awaken your intelligence by doing the things that they tried to awaken somebody's third eye. So we tried different civilizations and different people tried to awaken people's third eye, and they're like, it's not possible. But what we can do is awaken your intelligence. And now you think, meditating your hunger away and creating the lactic acid. You think about the Kundalini. Have you ever heard about the Kundalini?
No, I'm not familiar.
So in chakras and Kundalini, if you meditate, there's a snake in your stomach or inside of you that will release some venom that snakes up your spine and awakens your third eye. That's what they teach you today, right?
Okay, yeah.
So in neuroscience, if you meditate your hunger away while exercising, your intestine will make ketones and your body will make lactic acid. And in the absence of sugar, you'll birth stem cells that turn into neurons, raising your intelligence, cause an awakening of knowledge. It's real information, but people who can't read the original and suffer an ego problem don't tell you the truth, which is really fascinating. You're like, I've had death of ego and I've awakened my third eye. Well, the death of ego would tell the truth. It specifically states meditate your hunger away, not all thoughts. Right? You're telling me you had a death of ego practicing yoga, Kundalini and chakras, when all you're showing the world is that your ego is still in the way of the truth. Now, you think about that. In the Kundalini, chakras, and yoga, if you meditate your hunger away, you can awaken your intelligence, not your third eye. In neuroscience, if you were to hit your head and suffer a traumatic brain injury or an epileptic seizures, we can reawaken your intelligence and repair it by having you meditate your hunger away, doing exactly what these spiritual gurus tell you to do, but restoring the whole truth.
Huh. That seems to make sense to me.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. What is neuroscience? How do you heal
neurons?
Yeah, the study of the human brain, right?
Yeah.
Neurons, neuroscience, cognition, study of the brain. I can awaken your intelligence by having you create lactic acid and ketones that oxidize into acetone in the absence of sugar that will burst stem cells in you that turn into neurons, raising your cognition. Okay. That's kind of what chakras, Kundalini, and the yoga teach, except for perversions. Right? They didn't really, anybody who tells you you can just meditate all of your thoughts away and have an awakening is lying. They still have their ego in the way. Now, at an intelligence agency or military, how do you awaken somebody's intelligence so that they can become a SEAL? They can become a field, somebody in the field for the NSA, the CIA, or the Department of Defense. You exercise them, put them in a calorie-restrictive diet all day long for months on end. Basically, you're going to go to bed fucking hungry. Deal with it. Meditate your hunger away. What does that do? When you started, you weren't smart enough to understand the science needed to snipe somebody 500 yards from here. You didn't understand that humidity, atmospheric pressure, thermal drafts, grit in the air, all of that is science that plays a role in dictating the trajectory of the bullet. But after I had you meditate your hunger away for months on end, your brain is now capable of learning all of that new information.
Do you think the brain has a capacity limit?
No.
It's limitless? Is it made of light?
No. So here's the thing. You today and I today are operating on our cognition, our intelligence is operating on a certain amount of neurons. Those neurons get plaque between them and die off. I can actively birth new neurons, raising my intelligence or replacing my old ones faster than they die. raising my intelligence over time. Or I cannot do what I need to do to keep birthing new neurons and let my intelligence lower over time. It's quite fascinating. How did you grow your brain after you were born? Crawling around, being in a ketogenic, your body was growing so fast, you were in a ketogenic state. So what are chakras and kundalini and yoga and every military and intelligence agency doing in real life? Replicating what you did to grow your brain and your intelligence in the first place. They just re-kickstart it. People just don't understand that, if that makes sense.
Huh. No, that makes some sense. Have you ever heard of Graham's number and how it creates a black hole in your head if you try to envision it?
Yep. I mean, you know I have. You've been following me for a long time.
So does that mean that your brain does have a limit, or is that a new form of energy that it's getting turned into?
Well, I mean, think about this. Now, people don't really understand that concept. Now, where did your smartphone or tablet or whatever you're using to communicate with me come from today?
China.
No, but how did it get developed? It never existed. Somebody's brain.
In the mind of, I see what you mean. Okay.
Right, literally in a black hole. Somebody reached into a black hole. Now you think about this. If I invented chapstick today, somebody could look at Graham's number and go, the molecular structure that is a number that makes up this chapstick never existed. Right? It didn't exist yesterday. But I invented this, and people go, oh man, look, the number that makes up that chapstick. Look, there it is in Graham's number. Damn. It's always been there. We just never saw it. Does that make sense?
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right, we're a laser beam, right? We don't have the binary ones and zeros inside of Graham's number and all that stuff. You know, we didn't have that in the 1800s. But that number was there in that number. You understand the series of numbers that make it and bring it into existence, and that we can find in Graham's number today to say, here's your DNA. Here's the DNA that made you up. It didn't exist in Graham's number before you were born, but it exists now. And it actually existed before you were born. We just didn't have the perception to see it. If that makes sense. I mean, where's all this stuff coming from?
The black holes, I guess.
Well, think about it. It didn't exist.
So do you think
when you invent something new, hold on, when you invent something new that never existed in our reality, it never existed in our universe. How did it get to our universe?
From a black hole, someone's mind?
Right, the creation tied to imagination. Somebody, I mean, think about how crazy that is. Not only the people can't even wrap their heads around that. There's things in our universe we have today that never existed a year ago. Never. They didn't have a thought. They didn't have a material form. They never existed. But yet today, they're physical and tangible. You can hold something in your hand that never existed in our universe. Never.
Do you believe the theory, the psychological theory that dreams are the foundation of reality and ideas?
No.
You get your ideas from dreams? No.
No. Now, I understand where that perversion came from. You have to daydream, right? There's that, you leave your head in the clouds, always be daydreaming so you can, I mean, we put, I mean, think about how much stuff is on TV for kids to go outside and daydream and pretend they were playing with. And then they grew up and made it in real life, but it never existed until they daydreamed about it. That's not the same thing as it came from when they were dreaming while they were sleeping. Dreaming was the foundation, if that makes sense.
Okay. So it's not the actual temporal dreaming overnight. It's more of a...
No. Yes.
Okay.
Unlocking the power of creation in your imagination. You put something on TV for a kid to see, and the power of creation tied to their imagination when they're outside playing, pretending they have it, manifested like it never existed, right? We have things today that only existed on TV for kids to go out and pretend to play with, and now we have it. I mean, think about aircraft carriers. In the beginning, it was just stuff in books, right? A giant ship, you can sail around the world and land planes. Oh, man, this is fantastic. And kids were out playing in the creeks and mud puddles going, woo, this is, I can see it. I can picture it. My imagination. And then they got older and went, I could probably, draw up some blueprints and maybe make this a reality.
So what are we giving the kids nowadays to dream about and hopefully create?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I'm not sure either. I might have missed it.
Black holes.
Seems to be something about that. Something quantum
The
related.
mechanics of human creation. I mean, think about this. This is the most people ask me about Nikola Tesla all the time.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about Nikola Tesla, he drew up a picture of a little device that you could put in your pocket. And he said, no matter where people are in the world, this device will allow them to talk to each other instantaneously using free power. Radio waves.
And I'm sure at the time people looked at him like he had two heads, but
Well, yeah, he took it to
nowadays who have that sort of intuition.
He took it to colleges, he took it to governments. And they said, there's no free energy in the fucking air, you idiot. And so he developed he developed a radio-operated boat that he convinced people he would operate with his mind. Yeah, just to mess with them. So there's that free energy. And today, right, and they asked him, how do you don't have the radio, we don't have anything. We didn't have Gorilla Glass, a plug-in, people didn't even have electricity to make this shit happen. There was not a computer chip, nothing. And he told people, you know how I'm going to make it real? I'm going to give it to children to dream about. And he proceeded to go around and talk to children. Look, make-believe. I can talk to you anywhere I want on the planet using this make-believe device. Literally, he went all over, everywhere he went, he would talk to kids, and they thought it was weird, but he'd like, I can talk to you on this device. Don't you wish you had one? And they started playing. And lo and behold, their imagination birthed one into creation. That's amazing. He literally was like,
the first cell phone were, influenced by him or talked to him at some point.
They might not have been influenced by him, but they wouldn't have known about that device you could put in your pocket if he had not talking to other people about it.
True, very true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. We have that today because of Nikola. He gave it to people to dream about. He made it. Don't you? I mean, imagine this, guys. Imagine this, kids. You can take this device out of your pocket, talk to your mom or your best friend, Paul Revere or whatever. Say whatever you want. Put it in your pocket. You don't even have to go to their house. And people are like, man, that's that. Imagine that. That is awesome to dream. I mean, kids were like, this is great. It was the greatest thing to imagine. It wasn't real, so we had to dream about it. Daydream. They play in their yards pretending to talk on walkie-talkies. And lo and behold, we have it.
God, I'm so curious what our version of that's going to be. I hope there is one in our lifetime.
Well, you think about this spooky action at a distance, quantum entanglement.
Yeah, quantum tunneling as well. Maybe it's something like that. Instant transportation.
Think about quantum tunneling. Quantum tunneling exists inside of you today in that Goldilocks zone of star surviving. Right? If you study Nobel Prizes, you have the ability to assimilate the DNA of pond scum to repair your DNA today, utilizing quantum tunneling. Now,
so it's in our biology?
Yeah, it's part of who you are. It's part of what makes you work.
Do you think that the whole theory of as above, so below, that means that it's happening on a grander, interstellar state as well?
I mean, so as above, so below. There's black holes above us.
Yes.
They hold an entire universe of life inside. Okay. And so below us, in the womb of a woman. When a sperm and egg merge, when the atoms from your father's serpent or sperm merges and takes a bite out of your mother's egg at the eve of their creation, it creates a microscopic black hole below you. As above, so below. Now, as above, in the 7 seals of a rainbow, the center of the electromagnetic spectrum, there's a body of light that looks just like us, and we are created in its image. As above us, go all the way down
so below us
to the quantum realm. Subatomic particles, the subnuclear force that holds particles together. There's a ghost, the image of a body of light as well. As above, so below. Huh?
The Holy Spirit?
Well, I mean, if you read the original information in the Holy Spirit, it tells you you have the Holy Spirit in you. And that Holy Spirit will cure you of diseases and illnesses if you stop eating. What does that do? It actually creates spirits. Acetone. It's called. You ever acetone breath? The sweet smell of death. You ever hear that phrase? The sweet smell of death.
Yeah, I think I have. It has a certain scent to it.
Yeah. So death. When you're dying of kidney failure or liver failure from drinking, or heart failure, lung failure, any internal organ failure, your body starts creating ketones. And since you're eating sugar, your body doesn't actually use those ketones to cure you, and they come out on your breath, the sweet smell of death. Now, people started researching, why do alcoholics start creating ketones on their breath? Why is somebody dying from heart disease start creating ketones on their breath right before death? Lung failure, liver failure, all organ, brain, no matter what, why do you have that smell? And then we discovered ketones is my biology's original source of energy. It gives me 400% increase of energy, but also turns on the epigenetics to birth a stem cell in me if I don't have any sugar in my body. The sweet smell of death is your body trying to put you in a ketogenic state to give you 4 times the energy you need to birth a stem cell and repair your heart damage or your kidney failure. I had kidney and liver failure. Naturally, I had ketones on my breath. And literally, a nephrologist, stop eating fucking sugar. Why do I need to stop eating sugar? So the ketones will stop coming out on your breath. Your body will stop wasting them and actually use them to heal you. Here I am today.
That's awesome.
But I mean, you think about how many people actually know that.
Saying that.
Well, but we don't tell that to everybody. I happen to work on weird projects, weird shit, and I needed to finish something. If I wasn't in the middle of working on something weird, I guarantee you I would have never been told that. That's what's weird. Anybody, if I had gone in because they didn't know my name.
Do you think that's luck, or did you have a divine destiny to get this information?
I don't know. It is what it is.
It's true.
I mean, think about that though. Somebody who's got kidney failure or liver failure from drinking, they get ketones on their breath right before they die.
Yeah.
Their body's last hurrah, creating ketones. Heart failure, you get ketone breath, the sweet smell of death. Lung failure, pancreas, no matter what it is. Why? Why prior to dying does your body go, stop eating sugar, ketones only? Well, we know ketosis purges all toxins and damaged cells out of my body, that waste energy, and bursts stem cells in me. Stem cells that have the ability to repair my heart damage, my kidney failure, my liver failure, whatever organ is failing. The sweet smell of death is also the sweet smell of success and life if you do it correctly.
Is that what you're trying to do? Get everybody to do it correctly?
Yeah. Well, you think about how did you get here? In the quantum mechanics of your creation, when your sperm and egg merged together to build your organs in the first place, was there packets full of sugar or just protein and fat?
Protein and fat.
Right?
Definitely.
Right? You were growing, your cells were split. Now, this is phenomenal. Your cells were splitting so fast as a zygote. Over half of them were cancerous. And because you didn't have enough sugar in your body to sustain them, your body purged them. So everybody is born with an innate ability to purge cancer out of their body. But that signal is trained to be turned off in the presence of sugar. That's phenomenal. We have to train your body to no longer remove cancerous cells.
That's backwards.
Exactly. Why does your body stop sending out the signal to tell cancerous cells to induce autophagy or apoptosis? Because you went 20 years allowing your body to not respond to that signal. You trained your body to ignore that signal. How did we get you to do that? We made sure you didn't break fast during breakfast and ate sugar, fruits, vegetables, cereal, whatever, any form of sugar. Think of how fast, the name in the meal, break fast. What fast? The fast that sends out the signal to purge damaged cells out of my body and heal and grow my brain. It's
Okay,
in the
I see that.
fucking name. It's in the name. Break fast. What fast? The fast that allows my body to create the signal to remove toxins, damage cells, and grow and heal my brain. Every day I need to eat breakfast or train my body to no longer use that signal. If I can get my body to no longer respond to that signal, there's a good chance I'm going to have to take pharmaceuticals. There's a good chance I'm going to be a patient for some field of medicine.
Sucked into the world of big pharma.
Right now, you think about unplug from there is no spoon. Unplug from the matrix. There is no spoon. What happens if I start fasting, like religions tell me, or the top of neuroscience tells me? I unplug from Western medicine. I mean, how fast we study that. When people stop eating fruits and vegetables, candy bars, any form of sugar, they unplug and no longer require their prescriptions. They no longer require their weekly visits or monthly visits to the doctor's office. They've unplugged from that simulation that led them to believe their disease or their illness was incurable. You know, think about heart disease, the #1 killer in the world today. It's from cholesterol that builds up in your arteries, correct?
Yes.
Without sugar in your system, your body uses cholesterol in your arteries as fuel to purge damaged cells and burst stem cells. If I make sure you have sugar every day, when do you use that fuel? Never.
Never?
I've turned your natural, God-given, universe-given, whatever you want to call it, your natural ability to cure yourself into your God-given ability to kill yourself by not giving you the truth. I taught you what you needed to do to kill yourself for money so I can make money. I taught you as a child, if you do this, you can lead a very slow and painful death, and I can make some dinero off of it.
Cynical way to look at it, but it seems pretty true.
I mean, literally, what happens when a patient who has heart disease stops eating all form, not just candy bars, fruits and vegetables? The cholesterol in their artery gets eaten away. Now we know if you do it too fast, your arterial walls that are too thin might rupture because they got thin because they had a protective layer of plaque. So we can use that science. If you do this, you will suffer a freaking heart attack. Well, why? Because I didn't do it slow enough. I let the cholesterol build up for so long. The cholesterol ended up allowing my artery walls to become weak. And they were what was keeping the artery wall from blowing out in the first place. But if I go slow, I only eat a little bit of that plaque out of my arteries every week, my artery will start to feel my own heartbeat again once that plaque is removed, strengthening it. And eventually, I can survive without any plaque or that artery wall blowing out. But we don't tell you that either.
It's best to take a slow approach to it.
Oh, it is guaranteed. That's where they, somebody reached out to me today or yesterday in a DM. My father died of a heart attack going into ketosis. And because of my autism, I don't know how to articulate that properly. Your father or whoever did it very stupidly. They went too fast. You will, if you remove all the plaque out of your arteries that had so much cholesterol they couldn't even feel your heartbeat, how do your arteries have the strength to prevent a heart attack?
That's so true. You gotta think
they don't.
Both ways.
Right? Yeah. Your heart is. You have to allow your arteries and the things that support your heart to get back in shape as well. Plaque is like a cast. Right? Plaque is like a cast.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Yeah. What happens when you put a cast on your arm? It can't work out no more. It loses. It gets weak. Right. So if I put a cast of plaster of cholesterol through my arteries, what happens? They get weak, just like my arm did. Now, if I immediately take the cast off and try to lift a 50-pound dumbbell, can I do it? Hell no. I'm going to tear a tendon. I'm going to rip a muscle.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I remove the cholesterol out of my artery right away, I'm going to blow an artery immediately. I'm going to have a heart attack. But it's 3 o'clock. I got to get going so I can try and go on a walk or run with my wife.
All right. Sounds good. Get those